2021, Norton, one of the most trusted names in PC security, shipped a cryptocurrency miner inside its antivirus software. Not malware, not a hack, an official feature. Norton 360 started using your computer's processing power to mine Ethereum while you slept. They took a percentage of whatever you earned. You had to opt out. Most people never knew. And John McAfee, the man who literally invented consumer antivirus software, spent the last years of his life calling his own product a bloatware scam, begging people to uninstall it. The two biggest names in the history of PC security both became, in different ways, the exact thing they were supposed to stop. This is how that happened. In 1987, a virus called Brain was spreading across floppy disks. It was the world's first widespread PC virus, and almost nobody knew what to do about it. John McAfee did. He wrote detection software, distributed it for free, and built a company around the idea that ordinary people deserved protection from digital threats. By 1992, McAfee Associates went public. The antivirus industry was born. Norton followed a similar path. Peter Norton Computing had been making utility software since the early 1980s. Symantec acquired it in 1990 and turned Norton Antivirus into a household name, the software that came pre-installed on almost every Windows PC sold through the 1990s and 2000s. For a generation of computer users, these two names meant safety. You saw the Norton or McAfee logo in the corner of your screen and you felt protected. Your files were safe. Your passwords were safe. Your computer was in good hands. That feeling was worth billions. By the mid-2000s, McAfee was generating over $1 billion in annual revenue. Norton Symantec was bigger. Together, they defined what PC security meant to ordinary people worldwide. Like and subscribe, because the distance between that trust and what these companies became is one of the most revealing corporate stories in tech history. Here's the structural problem nobody talked about publicly. Antivirus software is a subscription business. You pay every year, the company needs threats to stay relevant, and renewals to stay profitable. That creates an incentive problem that never fully went away. McAfee began to bloat. What started as lean, focused virus detection grew into a suite of products: firewall, spam filter, identity protection, performance tools that slowed the very computers it claimed to protect. Users began noticing their machines ran better after uninstalling McAfee than before installing it. Norton followed the same path. The software that once scanned quickly and stayed quiet became a resource-hungry application that threw constant notifications, renewal warnings, and upsell prompts at users. Security researchers started publishing benchmarks showing that several major antivirus products were causing more performance problems than the viruses they detected. The product had stopped being about protection. It had become about retention. In 2010, Intel acquired McAfee for $7.68 billion, one of the largest cybersecurity acquisitions in history. In 2016, they spun it back out as an independent company. John McAfee himself had been gone from the company since 1994. By the time Intel was buying and selling his name, he had become the software's most outspoken critic. In 2019, he tweeted, "I have not used McAfee antivirus for the past 30 years. I consider it bloatware. Please uninstall it." The man who created the product told the world to remove it. In 2019, NortonLifeLock emerged from the breakup of Symantec's enterprise and consumer divisions. It rebranded Norton as a lifestyle security company, not just antivirus, but identity protection, dark web monitoring, VPN, parental controls, cloud backup. The product expanded far beyond its original purpose. And then in late 2021 came the moment that defined the company's reputation permanently. Norton 360 began rolling out Norton Crypto, a built-in Ethereum mining feature that used customers' GPU and CPU power to mine cryptocurrency while they weren't actively using their machines. Let that sit for a moment. An antivirus product, mining cryptocurrency on your computer without prominently disclosing it up front, requiring an explicit opt-out that most users never saw. Norton took a 15% cut of whatever you mined. The response from the security community was immediate and brutal. Researchers pointed out the fundamental irony: antivirus software flagging cryptocurrency miners as malware, while Norton's own product was a cryptocurrency miner. The very behavior Norton was supposed to detect, Norton was now doing. Consumer complaints flooded in. Security professionals published detailed takedowns. The story went viral in tech circles. Norton eventually made the feature easier to disable, but they never removed it entirely and never fully apologized for how it was rolled out. And then the merger happened. In 2022, NortonLifeLock completed its acquisition of Avast, yes, the same Avast from the CCleaner hack story, creating Gen Digital. One company now owned Norton, Avast, CCleaner, and several other security brands. The company controlling some of the world's most trusted security tools was the same company that had been fined $16.5 million by the FTC for selling user browsing data through Avast's JumpShot subsidiary. Meanwhile, the man behind the original antivirus had become something else entirely. John McAfee spent his later years in tax disputes with the US government, legal troubles across multiple countries, and an increasingly public persona that had almost nothing to do with cybersecurity. In 2020, he was indicted by the U.S. Department of Justice on tax evasion charges. The DOJ alleged he had not filed tax returns for years while earning millions from cryptocurrency promotions, speaking engagements, and consulting. In 2021, Spanish authorities arrested him in connection with potential extradition to the United States. On June 23, 2021, John McAfee was found dead in his prison cell in Barcelona. Spanish authorities ruled it suicide.
Antivirus software creator John McAfee has been found dead inside his Barcelona prison cell just hours after a Spanish court had approved his extradition to the US.
The man who invented consumer antivirus software died in a foreign prison, having spent years calling his own legacy a scam. The company bearing his name continued operating under private equity ownership, eventually being acquired by Symphony Technology Group. Today, McAfee exists as a consumer security brand with no meaningful connection to its founder, a name used to sell subscriptions to people who remember when that name meant something. After everything in this video, I want to be straight with you about something. The story of Norton and McAfee is really the story of what happens when security becomes a product category instead of an actual priority. Both companies got so focused on keeping you subscribed that they stopped being focused on keeping you safe. So I stopped relying on software alone to protect my accounts. The thing I actually use now is a hardware security key, specifically a YubiKey. It's a small physical device that plugs into your USB port and acts as a second factor for logging into your accounts. Gmail, Facebook, your password manager, whatever you care about most. Here's why it's different from everything in this video. It has no internet connection, it can't be updated remotely to mine your GPU, it can't phone home to sell your data, and no company can quietly change what it does without you physically holding a different device. It's not a subscription. You buy it once. It works. The link is in the description. I'll put both the standard version and a budget alternative there. If you've watched this video and you're thinking I want actual protection, not just a logo in my taskbar, that's where I'd start. In 2026, the company that owns Norton also owns Avast, CCleaner, Recuva, and Defraggler under the Gen Digital umbrella. The FTC fine that banned Avast from selling browsing data did not stop Gen Digital from operating those products. It stopped one specific data pipeline. The broader data collection practices of the combined company remain the subject of ongoing scrutiny. Norton continues to sell subscriptions. McAfee continues to sell subscriptions. Both flag cryptocurrency miners as threats, while Norton's own mining experiment remains part of their public record. And the independent security research community, the people who actually find zero-day vulnerabilities and expose real threats, continues to operate largely without the revenue, recognition, or trust that these brands captured decades ago and never fully deserved to keep. Here's what the Norton and McAfee story actually teaches. Security theater is more profitable than security. A logo in the corner of your screen, a notification that says your PC is protected, a green checkmark next to your email, these things feel like safety. They don't necessarily create it, but they create the feeling of it, and that feeling is worth billions of dollars in annual subscription revenue. Both companies understood this better than almost anyone, both optimized for the feeling rather than the function. And both eventually became so focused on retention, expansion, and revenue diversification that they drifted toward behaviors their own software would have flagged. A cryptocurrency miner embedded in your antivirus, a data-selling subsidiary running behind your free product, a founder begging users to uninstall his own legacy. These aren't accidents, they're the natural outcome of building a business model around fear, then gradually discovering that trust is even more valuable to monetize than fear. The worst part? It worked. For decades, and in 2026 the brands are still running, still collecting subscriptions, and still putting logos in the corner of your screen that make you feel like something is watching out for you. Something is actually watching. It's just not always watching out for you. Drop in the comments, did you grow up with Norton or McAfee on your family computer? And subscribe for more stories about the tools that shaped the internet and the business decisions behind them that nobody talked about at the time.